Good morning, guys. We are working on the Jack and Carol murder case this morning. Before I get into that, I want to thank Brent and Claire for giving us a good donation towards the new anamorphic lens. In the last video, I asked anybody who wanted to help us out, and right away, these guys sent me a nice message and donated $100. So thank you, guys. I tried to send them a reply email saying thank you, and I can't reach them, so we'll do it right here on the channel. Thank you, guys. Don't mind my face, actually, guys. By the way, the ice fishing video that we did 4 days ago, look at my face, how windburnt I got. I actually had blisters on my cheeks, my nose. Yeah, it freaking hurts. I got another email from Maizie. And this one, I don't want to use the term disappointed, but maybe confusing is appropriate, because I know what I feel from my attachment to Carol, and it's kind of the opposite of what Maizie tells me. Maizie says in her email here, they want you to let it go, but they keep telling me, don't let it go, help us. Can you hear us? We need your help. And then I have this feeling that goes along with it. But I'm going to read this email because there are things that Maizie picks up that are true and accurate, but then there are other things that completely, guys, it's news to me. It's new. I get a couple new names here, and okay, editing this, and we just got another disembodied voice in the recording I did. It says Jack. So tell me this isn't real, guys, and I'm getting full waves of confirmation shivers right now. It said Jack, and I'm pretty sure it was only on the left audio again. Let's just go over it. I don't know. So the only thing I can explain is they have told her things that contradict from one session to the next, and they tell me sometimes things that contradict from one session to the next. And we have to remember, we don't know which spirit we're talking to, right? Now, she doesn't know exactly. Who's to say that Black doesn't introduce himself as Jack to Maizie, and then she thinks she's talking to Jack, but really she's talking to Black? I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know. She kind of explains about floater spirits. Let me just read her email here. It says, "Hi, Gary. I hope all is well with you. This is a long one. I'll just explain. I heard a new term while in conversation with Carol, which relates to the apps you use. Jack also used the term. Carol used the term spirit floaters. I have never heard it before, so she explained it to me as uninvited spirits. Jack used this term too. It was related to some of the words you had via the apps you use. Carol mentioned it when I asked her about the words you had come up with, rape and baby. These spirits can pop in uninvited and put in words or phrases that may not be connected or true. I found that interesting." Well, I'll just mention, guys, that they have said in at least 6 videos that Carol was raped, and they always say Black afterwards. They talk about her being warned, about him being abusive, that she was tied up, and all these other... They're very detailed, and multiple times. Who's saying it? I don't know. I had some things told to me to pass on to you directly. I hope you don't mind. Carol mentioned you again and said you can't let go of their murder investigation and will carry it on and can't let it go. You'll do many other things. I believe she's right. I do feel that there's more to investigate. Carol told me to tell you direct. Gary, it's time to let the case go. It's a case that doesn't need solving now. It will come to light in 2028. But before this, you move on. You have so much to learn and do. Other spirits may wish to contact you, and there are many mysteries around you. I agree, 100%. I just get the feeling that Carol, personally, that's the opposite of what she's the one bugging me to keep hounding me to keep going. So I don't know. I'm confused on that. Your family will have some relief if you put your murder on pause. You now have much proof of a solid connection between the spirit world and your world. We are all intertwined. Absolutely. I believe that 100%. Go to the grave. It's unmarked. No one went back to it. None left. Matters not, I suppose. That was what she said. The following is my interpretation of most of the conversation with Jack and Carol, some of which we have heard before, and now she breaks it down. Carol mentions DSI. Black was behind it all. Bill Langer shot her. Again, this is that name that I've researched and can't find, that we think he was a police constable. Black shot Jack. She calls Jack her love. In one of the very first videos I did, full shiver out of nowhere, we got a message from Carol. Shiver just going down my neck. Okay, please subside, please. And it said, Jack and Carol, best lovers ever. And she's telling us that this is what Carol told her, so that is confirmation, and I'm getting confirmation right now. She calls Jack her love. Black and Langer were conspiring together. Black didn't leave the police force. We know that. He retired like 30 years later. But Langer left on his own accord. I can't find Bill Langer. And the spirits told us that he left, but he was fired. So there's a bit of a discrepancy on my end to her end. Carol said she was not raped and Hack Shack was wrong. Mentions floaters and it being wrong. I don't know. It's been told to me multiple times. But I always feel that it's not Carol telling me, it's somebody else telling me her story. So Carol confirms Jack was killed by George. Now this is weird. Okay, listen. By George. And she was killed by Langer, as she said before. Carol mentions Jack was shot 3 times. He shouted to her and she was not aware he had been shot as she was looking where to go. Langer in cohorts with Black. Carol then mentioned some words on your video with the app going, tarot video, as being not applicable with some misinformation. Now, Jack says, George Frederick Black. I don't know that name. Shot him in his head, groin, and chest. So, now we have to trust that Maisie's getting this information and she's just not crazy and making this up, writing a story. I believe her. I've talked with her. She seems cool. But that name, George Frederick Black, I have never heard. I tried to research George Frederick Black. There is no George Frederick Black from my area that I could find. There is a George Alfred Black, and he died 4 years before this case. He was a prosecuting attorney, and he died in 1965. No relation to our Black, but this name, George Frederick Black, no idea. Now, the other thing we have to mention here is that she's saying that Jack was shot 3 times. Well, according to the autopsy report, Jack was shot twice. Once in the mouth, knocked his teeth out, and once behind the ear. And Carol was shot in the head once behind the ear as well. These were execution-style shootings, and I read the autopsy report. It was very detailed, right down to their stomach contents and everything like that. So why they're telling Maizie that he was shot 3 times? Maybe they would have roughed him up, right? You got this guy out on the bridge. Did he get gut punched? Nut punched? I hate to throw that out there, Jack. But, and then shot right afterwards and it all felt the same to him, super painful. I don't know, but he was not shot 3 times. It says the headshot did not kill, but the chest did. Last one. He slowed and turned, and then we ran like crap. Well, Jack didn't run anywhere. He died right there on the bridge, according to the reports, the investigation. Carol did run, was drugged back. He was struck by Black. Langer shot Carol. Black, instigator of the whole darn mess. The party was just a gathering with a lot of drink. Well, there was drink and there was a lot of drugs going on there. Jack hadn't drunk much before that. I don't know. Shot after the party? Yes, we know that. Party was where someone told the police that Jack and Carol were. That makes sense that the police or Black was trying to round these guys up. He would have assumed they were at this party. He goes there. Oh, and then he finds out they're not. They already went home. They were taken from their apartment. The door was kicked in. There was blood on the door and their dinner plates were still sitting there. Teenagers, right? They were eating dinner in the middle of the night, I guess. You're up all night. Your schedule's reversed. Jack mentions telling me of them both stealing lists. A lot of names and details. This makes sense. Somebody was working deep undercover. Black had worked on gathering names and involved or not. Wanted to lay blame and put people away. Langer was Black's sidekick. I wish I could find something on this guy. Jack and Carol were set up from the word go. Asked to steal this information for cartel and mafia. In the last video, I asked them about that, and Carol said she stole information from her aunt. And I've never verified if she actually had an aunt, but we know her father was part of the mafia. Jack and Carol had no choice. They were threatened. Carol stuck by Jack. She had no way out. Jack hopes Black is in purgatory. Langer is now dead. He's on another plane. Black is on a very low plane. Black's career was stuffed after the shooting. It was handled bad. Mess. Clowns. The lot of them. No, it wasn't stuffed, guys. So in my recent research, I knew that he was promoted to detective in 1968, 1 year before Jack and Carol were murdered. He'd been on the force for 10 years. Well, 4 years after they were murdered, before this case was ever settled, before anybody was charged and this was brought to court, Ralph Stanley Black was actually promoted again. He was promoted to staff sergeant. Wait a minute. I was looking at this like a promotion because this is how the paper portrayed it. 18 police force members promoted. He's promoted to staff sergeant, but maybe really being a staff sergeant, you're being stuffed. You're removed from the streets. You're removed from cases. You're not a detective anymore. Maybe his career was held back by this promotion. For sure, a lot of people were involved. Others were taken out for years. Love it. And then she puts in brackets person's name and then camp, Lovett. Now she's getting these messages sent to her. I don't know if it's she hears it or if it's just in her head. But she told me before she's not sure of the spelling. And that is interesting. Do you guys remember the character Buzz? Remember I told you she does hit on some things? Lovett is wrong. There was a character named Buzz. There's a shiver of confirmation. And I tried to link this guy. I couldn't find a Buzz for over a year. And then my aunt told me, well, we knew a guy back then. His name was Graham Levitt. Levitt. And everyone called him Buzz. Graham was a great friend of Ian's and Danny and all this group of kids that hung around together. He was one of them, one of the bad ones. Now she's mentioning something about his camp. I'm sure she's talking about Levitt, not Lovett. It was an advanced arrangement. Gary looked up the residence and gone there to see. Wants the whole story. It's a mess. Gary is never going to get the details he wants. I know! In the explaining, it will not explain all because it exposes the police force as allowing corrupt people to work. Yes, I believe that Captain Witherspoon was in on this. The police is not so lawful as you might expect due to lack of intelligence with the force and pressure to get results. This was why the underworld cops were flying between the force and criminals who had something on them which held them all at bay, ransom, so to speak. Nowadays, much more regulated, people long gone now. Yeah, we know, guys, it's since like the 1990s, things changed drastically. There are now cameras, everything's recorded. Back in the day, it was a boys' club. You got rid of evidence as you saw fit. You planted evidence as you saw fit because you knew that guy was a criminal and you got him off the street. We know that. And then there were those who were on the take, working for money from the mafia. And, well, maybe there was some instances of control there. Not money, but we're going to kill your family if you don't do what we want. That kind of thing, of course, obviously. It was at this point, Gary, I was told by Jack that I will have some people doubt me if I give out too much information. He warned me against it. He said, sadly, it's human nature. I have told you the information as it was received, so I sincerely hope it is well received by yourself. Just pass on what I am told. Jack told me that he said more. Putting out all the details would not be a good thing to do now. He said you were like a dog with a bone. True. Can't let go. Mentioned you will move on to other things and it can take a back seat for a while. Jack mentioned that details get lost when people die, records are lost, some intentionally, so the truth becomes blurred. I had some pretty random stuff for you said by Jack too. Make of it what you will. He said your garage isn't going to be leaking now. You fixed it. That is very close, but it's not true. I have the outside of my garage, she wouldn't know this, has eaves trough, and it leaks onto my stairs and causes ice on my stairs and in front of my garage door, and I've hired somebody to come and fix it. It's not done yet, but it's funny that she brings that up. This is what I'm saying. She's getting legitimate messages from these guys, but then other things they say to her, I'm just like, that's not right. I think other spirits are interjecting and giving information and we are reading it as coming from the wrong source. But then they throw that name out there, George Frederick Black. That to me makes no sense. There, to my knowledge, I don't know who. I've tried searching, guys. I spent 2 hours yesterday. George Frederick without the Black. I tried George Black. I tried that combination. Tried to put that with other people on the force. I looked at all my names. No, I can't find anybody. So again, we just have to take it all with a grain of salt. But I do thank Maizie for all of her efforts, and I believe, she does hear things. She's intuitive. She knows things. I think they're telling her the wrong stuff sometimes, but I don't know. Thank you, Maizie. Just doing research, trying to find Bill Langer. I cannot find a Bill or William Langer. But we have heard that Bill was there that night from the spirit box. Traveled with both, it said. Guys, I just made a connection that... I'm getting shivers down the back of my neck. I don't know why I didn't make this connection. I've got a list of constables, and I added 18 more constables to that list yesterday. Nicholson, Barry, Valancourt, Lefebvre, Laird, Harvey, Scott, Lynham, Bailey, J.H. Williams, Quirt, and more, okay? It's not a constable. We've had the information that I think all along makes sense. I'm doing research. I'm typing in William. I'm trying different names. Williams, last name. I'm thinking maybe Bill Lang. I'm thinking maybe Lang was his middle name. Bill Lang something. And they called him Langer. It's not Lang. I don't think it's Lang. But this is crazy. This is dangerous. We're getting into dangerous territory. We're already there. What if Chief William Witherspoon had something to do with this? Now, why I didn't have his name on my list? He's the chief. I knew he existed because in one of our earlier videos, I'm going to have to find it now. I believe it's the one where we talked to Ralph Stanley Black. We get a female message, which I believe was Ralph's wife, saying something about the chief making him do it. Do what? I don't know. At the time, I thought it was plant the bullet, hide evidence, cover up. This isn't as far-fetched as some of you are thinking right now. What if William Witherspoon's nickname was Langer? Then he would be Bill Langer. I mean, I don't know. I have no way to verify that, but I'm getting a shiver right now. There's a Bill involved, and the chief's name is William? Come on. That's not a coincidence. William Witherspoon. Bill shot us. Did the chief have something to do with this? That's crazy. That's a dangerous allegation right there. What made me think of Chief William Witherspoon is another article I found here. Police raid on the Legion, in which they brought out 75 cases of beer, which they said were from Quebec. So the Quebec border is only 60 kilometers from here, and to this day, we all go to Quebec to get our beer because it's about half price. You're not supposed to, but everybody does it. And I guess selling it at the Legion and having 75 cases on your property means that you got a warrant. 3 plainclothes policemen, William Witherspoon and Detective Black, raided the Legion. And this is July of 1968. I'm going to show you guys a picture of Detective Black sitting in the car with the cases of beer. You know how some people say, I just had a creepy feeling? Yeah, when I see that photo of Detective Black, I get a creepy feeling. So, also, I want all of you armchair detectives out there to tell me something that you learned about Detective Black from that first photo. That's right. Go back, take a look. He's got a cigarette hanging out his mouth. I'm sure it's not uncommon for the era. 1968 was that photo. I was hoping he was going to have a Tums roll sticking out of his pocket or something. But it's a cigarette. cigarette butts were found at the murder scene, and we have heard in previous statements that he smoked from the spirit box, so confirmed by this photo. Witherspoon. I don't think I've ever heard that name come through the box, but I think we have heard Chief. Why would the box say to us over and over and over that Black did it, Black killed us, if William Bill Witherspoon was the one to kill them? So I don't know. Maisie's information that she sent us says that Bill killed them, but that is contrary to everything I have received in 200 to 300 hours of Spirit Box sessions, including the last one we did, the tarot card session where we ran Spirit Box again, and it clearly said that Black did it, killed us. So I don't know. But now I'm absolutely beginning to feel that the Chief was in on this.